Now, I've been on record for years as saying as the Mazda Miata, the MX-5 as being one of my all-time favorite cars because it's a real driver's car. Dollar for dollar, there are very few cars that can beat this, if any. And I know some of you are saying, come on, Zach, it's a chick car. It's always been a chick car. But the reality is 70% of the people that buy this car, they're dudes. And I always say, it's not a chick car, you gotta drive it to realize that it's a real sports car. Now this is the 4th generation MX-5, and proportionally it's going back to the 1st generation Miata that came out in 1989. It's actually a little bit smaller overall, but the wheelbase is longer, and it's about the same weight. I'll get into that when we start driving it. But what you notice right away, it's a whole new direction for the MX-5 in terms of design. Now, when the designers were talking to me today, they were saying the first 3 generations were kind of an evolution of the same theme, basically using those old English roadsters as a template and making a Japanese iteration of that classic design. But the buyers continue to get older year after year, so they're really having to come up with something a little bit more dynamic to appeal to the Gen X and the Gen Y crowd. A car that looks like it means business, it's anchored on the road, it's much more dynamic looking, it has all the latest interior communications features that people are demanding nowadays. So we're here just outside of Los Angeles, driving through the canyons and the mountains in this brand new MX-5. All right, the first thing I want to show you on the inside of this car is just how beautifully simple the roof is. It's spring-loaded. Basically, with 1 or 2 fingers, you can push that forward and latch it. Now, that's a beautiful thing. And you'll also notice that there's quite a bit of headroom here. They lowered the seat by 2 centimeters in the front, and that provides more space in the roof. They also changed the way that the roof is constructed with the bars, and they moved something forward here, and that allows 9 millimeters of extra space. So that's definitely welcome. Also, the pitch of the seat goes back farther now, so there's, for taller people, even more space in here than ever before. You want to put it down, it's really that simple. What you can do from the driver's position at a traffic light, the weather changes and you want to put the roof down, away you go. So that's fantastic stuff. Then you'll notice there's the controller here and the screen. Now this is standard equipment on the middle trim and the top trim, the GS and the GT. 7-inch screen with the controller, straight out of what we've seen with other Mazda products, the Mazda 3 and what have you. So that's definitely welcome for the next generation of potential roadster buyers. Full connectivity, Bluetooth, you've got USB ports here, that's standard. You get Bluetooth connectivity on all trim levels. Also, a nice feature is in every single model, you get speakers in the headrest here. Now the bottom and the middle trim, you get speakers and it basically helps fill in the sound. And when you put the phone on, the phone call comes through your headset here, through the headrest, and it's crystal clear. That makes a huge, huge difference. Then when you get the top GT trim level, and it's maybe worth springing for, the Bose stereo is fantastic, and then the speakers are upgraded in here, and they actually add a subwoofer. I don't know, they've hidden it somewhere in the car, but it's in here. So that's all good stuff, all the latest communications. Navigation is standard on the middle trim and the top trim level. So this is the way I think most people are going to want to configure this car. The base model has a smaller screen and isn't really as technologically advanced, even though all trim levels do get Bluetooth connectivity. Then you get into the storage. They say this car is bigger than the previous model, even though the outside dimensions are smaller. You have the steering wheel and the pedals and everything now perfectly lined up. Previously, the pedals were sort of shifted off to one side. Now they've gone right in the middle. They've moved the driver's seat in towards the middle of the car. With the windshield brought back, it gives you a better outward visibility over the hood and down the road. It's very simple in here. You take away this communication stuff, it's still a very simple, clean, easy execution of a roadster, and that's really what matters. It's all about the driver in the car and going down the road and having fun. Now the reason why this isn't a chick car, never has been, is because it's the proper setup. Front engine, rear wheel drive, lightweight application, tossable little machine that is just so much fun to drive. It's got the right sound, you point it where you want it to go and it does it all perfectly. And with this latest 4th generation, they've taken everything and they've amped it up. So under the hood is a 2-liter Skyactiv engine, direct injection technology. It does run on premium fuel and it produces 155 horsepower and 148 foot-pounds of torque. That's slightly less than the outgoing engine, but this car is much lighter. Everything that went into this car, they made it smaller on the outside. All of the components have been adjusted for weight. So this car is 150 pounds lighter than the previous model with that wonderfully responsive Skyactiv engine. And the geometry of the suspension really is the star of the show. You can see I'm just throwing this thing into corners, plus I'm talking to you, not really concentrating as closely as I should be, and it's just perfect. It's got double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear suspension. The suspension is so forgiving. You get it in a corner, you have to do another little micro adjustment, no problem for this car. So it's just brilliant. I just love the way that they've put it all together. It makes a good driver look fantastic and an average driver look good. The power is just about spot on. You can wring this engine out, you heel and toe, downshift third, down to second, into the corner, trail brake, around the corner. Just so much fun. And it just all comes together to make this one awesome machine. Now there are three basic trim levels, the GX, the GS, and the GT. The GS is going to be the performance trim, and the GT will be more of the luxury trim. And I suspect most people will transact at the middle and upper trim levels because that's the features you're going to really, really want. All of them have an automatic available at no extra charge. Now the GS in 1 year will get the sport package that you see on this car here. You get the BBS black wheels, you're going to get the Brembo brakes front and back, and on the inside a Recaro seat set that is covered in leather and is heated. Not available in Canada for the first year. You're going to have to wait for a 2017 model year, but that might be worth the wait. The GT adds more safety features. If it was me buying, I'd probably stick at that GS trim and wait for the sport package. Right now, the roof is just a rag top. They're keeping tight-lipped about the retractable hardtop, but I would bet almost dollars for donuts that's coming down the road. The thing about this car is it makes an average driver look good and a good driver look great.